So Stefan, what is the Bible?
Well, the Bible is a collection of books. The word Bible, ta biblia in Greek, actually means the books in the plural form, indicating that we have a collection of books. So the Old Testament and the New Testament are both collections of books that were gathered together. And in those collections, we find all types of literary genre, historical narratives, songs, love songs, we find mystery, we find gospels, and together all these books, although they may look very different from a literary perspective, all point to the same event. And that event is, as an umbrella term really, God's actions and words culminating in the coming of Christ. The Bible is about that.
You had mentioned that the Bible is like a library. How did we end up with the Bible in its current form?
It's a long historical process which took centuries. So the two major parts of the Bible are the Old Testament and the New Testament. So at the time when Jesus came, references to scriptures that we find in the Gospels, those references to scriptures really are talking about Jewish scriptures. They're not talking about the New Testament, of course. When we talk about the New Testament was written over a period ranging from the mid-1st century AD to the very late 1st century AD, so a much shorter period of time. And very quickly, over a couple of centuries, the church started having a list of accepted books. By the 4th century, we have already all the books accepted in the New Testament, plus those of the Old Testament. And that list has not changed up to today.
And who wrote the Bible?
Who wrote the Bible? Well, the short answer is God wrote the Bible. How did he do that? Well, God used different men. Some of them we know quite a lot about, some of them we know very little about. So the process of inspiration, how did God inspire these writers, is one in which we find the human author cooperating with God. So that the final product could be said God's words, but expressed in human words. We could say that the Bible is human and the Bible is divine. It's a mystery.
And you had mentioned that the Bible is like a letter between two lovers.
Yes, and there always I go back to a long time ago, the days when my wife and I were dating and got engaged, and we used to write letters at times twice a day, 3 times a day. And I used to look forward to receiving the letters and reading the letters, and each time I would receive the letter and read the letter, my heart would really jump. The Bible is the same thing, really, is God's love letter to us, and an invitation to come deeply into that relationship with Him, to come and discover who He is, to come to know Him better. Very often we think we know about God, but God wants us to go one step further to get to know Him truly. And where do we do that? In the Bible, really.